Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Shalom, Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, Salam Kebajikan. Let me introduce myself first. My name is Mareta Diana Putri from Academic Education 2019. Today, I'm going to share my presentation about my thesis is about the effect of provincial minimum wage investment and labor force participation on growth economy in West Java 2015 until 2019. So I'm gonna share my presentation first. So here my presentation about the effect of provincial minimum wage investment and labor force participation rate on economic growth in West Java 2015 until 2019. So my advisors is Prof. Dr. Saparudin Mukhtar, MSc, and Bapak Diki Ranto, SAMSE. So the discussion is about this study analyzes three factors that are estimated to have an effect on economic growth as measured by the rate of economic growth in the district or cities of West Java. The variables used in this research, the provincial minimum wage, investment, and labor force participation rate. And the provincial minimum wage variable is measured by the minimum wage in West Java, district or city. The investment variable is measured by the total domestic investment or PMDN and foreign investment or PMA. Meanwhile, the labor force participation rate variable is measured by the percentage of the population aged 15 years and over, which is the active labor force with the ratio of the total labor force divided by the total working age population or 15 years and over, and then multiplied by 10%. The research used the panel data regression analysis method by examining 27 regencies or city in West Java province from 2015 until 2019. The total observation in the analysis were 135 observations. The data used by the researchers is secondary data in the form of panel data that combines cross-section and time series data. So here the hypothesis test. The first is regression hypothesis testing. The first section is chow test. Here the analysis about chow test. It's sourced from output FPS9. So based on the table, the result of the chow test in the study show the probability value of the cross-section F chi-square probability of 0.000. The result is smaller than the significance of 0.05. So it can be concluded that the fixed effect model or FAM is better than common effect model or SAM in the chow test. So the H0 is rejected, H1 is accepted. Then the Hausman test is then carried out. So the second one is Hausman test. Here's the result and sourced by output FPS9. Based on the table, the result of the Hausman test in this study obtained a probability value of random cross-section F of 0.0019. The result was smaller than the significance of 0.05. So H0 is rejected, or it can be concluded that the fixed effect model or FAM was chosen to be the best model in this study. So there is no need to protest to the language multiplier test. So the third one is the fixed effect model or FAM output result. So here the result of FAM and the result of testing the panel data regression model, which was carried after the chow test and Huffman test using FF9, resulted in the fixed effect model or FAM model chosen in this study. So the secondary is a classic assumption test. The first classic assumption test is a normality test. So based on the picture, so here the result about the normality test. Based on the picture, the normality test conducted by the research product produced a Jarcubera probability value of 0.302963. So this result is greater than 0.05. meaning that H0 is accepted. Therefore, it can be concluded that the residual are normally distributed in the model army. So the second one is multicollinearitas task. So here the result and sourced by FIS9. Based on the table, the result of the multicollinearity task above can be seen that the correlation value is less than 0.8. So it can be concluded that there is no multicollinearity problem in this research variables. With that result, one classic assumption task has been fulfilled. So the third one is heteroscedasticity task. Here the result about heteroscedasticity task and sourced by output FIS9. So the decision creation for testing heteroscedasticity is to consider the probability value of the t statistic or t count of the independent variable. So H0 is accepted if the p value is greater than 0.05. So that is, there are no symptoms of heteroscedasticity of homoscedasticity. Conversely, H0 is rejected if the probability value is less than 0.05. That is, the sign of symptom of heteroscedasticity based on table 4.5. The probability value of the independent variable is greater than 0.05, which means that H0 is acceptable and there are no sign of heteroscedasticity. So here the hypothesis testing. The first is panel data regression equation. So here's the result about the panel data regression equation sourced by output FIS9. So the regression equation for the result of the data processing is seen from the coefficient value. The regression equation of this study is y is 0.291436 plus 0.287006 is a variable 1 and plus 0.056165 variable 2 plus 0.017033 variable 3. So from the above equation, it can be interpreted that the UMT investment and TPAK have a positive effect on economic growth. So based on the regression equation, it can be concluded as follows. If the provincial minimum wage investment and labor force participation rate are constant at 0, then Y economic growth is a 0.291436. If X1 provincial minimum wage increased by 1%, then Y economic growth will increase by 0.287006%. If X2 investment increased by 1%, then Y economic growth will increase by 0.056165%. If X3 labor force participation rate increased by 1%, then Y economic growth will increase by 0.017033%. So the next is the statistic t-test. So here's the result of statistic t-test and sourced by output FIS9. And based on the statistical t-test result, it shows that the provincial minimum wage investment and labor force participation rate have an effect on economic growth in West Java with a significant value of 0.05. And here the discussion about statistic tests. The first is the effect of provincial minimum wage on economic growth in West Java. The result using the panel data method show that the provincial minimum wage has a positive influence on economic growth. Based on the result of the t-test on the provincial minimum wage variable, it produced at t-account of 3.557922, which is greater than the t-table of 1.65657 and has a probability value of 0.0006, which is smaller than the significant level of 0.0. So I continue my presentation. So, in the impact of provincial minimum wage on economic growth in West Java, has a positive value on P count indicate a positive relationship between variable. So it can be concluded partially that the provincial minimum wage has a significant and positive influence on economic growth in West Java. Next, the effect of investment on economic growth in West Java. And the result is using the panel data method show that investment has a positive effect on economic growth based on the result of the t-test on the investment variable. The t-count result of 2.76938 are greater than the t-table of 1.65657 and have a probability value of 0.0066, which is smaller than the alpha significance of 0.05, which means that the investment variable has a significant relationship. A positive value on P count indicates that the relationship between variables is positive. So it can be concluded partially that investment has a positive and significant influence on economic growth in West Java. Next is the effect of labor force participation rate on economic growth in West Java. And the result is a positive value on P count indicates because the P count result of 2.592680 are greater than the T table of 1.65657 and have probability value of 0.0109 less than an alpha significance of 0.05. So it can be concluded that partially that the labor force participation rate has a positive and significant influence on economic growth in West Java. So here the hypothesis testing is the F statistics test. Based on the task in the table, it can be seen based on the F count probability value of 0.00000 calculated with a 95% confidence level, an alpha of 0.05. The probability value is less than 0.05, so that the three independent variables in simultaneously influence the dependent variable. The table of F values is searched by knowing the degrees of freedom, or DF1 and 2. DF1 with the formula K minus 1, K is the number of variables. Then the F1 is obtained, namely 4 minus 1 is 3. The F2 with the N minus K formula, N is the number of observation sample. Then the F2 is obtained, namely 135 minus 4 is a 131. Based on the known degrees of freedoms, the result obtained for the F table are 2.67. So it can be concluded the F count value is equal to 7.25042, greater than the F table, which is equal to 2.767. In the sense that this study shows that this model test is feasible to use. So this is the coefficient of determinations from the table above. It can be seen that our square value is 0.666944, while the adjusted R square value is 0.574957. The R square value range from 0 to 1 based on the R square value of 0.999 0.666944. It means that the independent variable can explain 66.69% of the dependent variable, and the remaining 33.31% is influenced by other factors. The adjust R square value is the R square adjustment with the number of independent variables. In this study, the R adjusted R square result were 0.57 4957, meaning that the dependent variable, namely economic growth, show that it could be explained by the independent variable, namely the provincial minimum wage, investment and labor force participation rate of 57.49%, while the remaining 42.51% was influenced by other factors outside the model. So next, the discussion is a provincial minimum wage on economic growth in West Java. Have the positive value on the T count means that the influence of the provincial minimum wage on economic growth is unidirectionally, meaning that if the provincial minimum wage increase, economic growth will increase. So the second one is investment on economic growth in West Java has the positive value on T count, means that the effect of investment on economic growth is unidirectional, meaning that if investment increase, economic growth will increase. The next labor force participation rate on economic growth in West Java has the result the positive value on the T count, means that the labor force participation rate has a directional effect on economic growth, meaning that if the labor force participation rate increase, economic growth will increase. So the conclusion is the provincial minimum wage has a positive and significant effect on economic growth in West Java. In 2015 until 2019, investment has a positive and significant effect on economic growth in West Java in 2015 until 2019. The third, the labor force participation rate has a positive and significant effect on economic growth in West Java in 2015 until 2019. And simultaneously, the provincial minimum wage, investment, and labor force participation rate have the positive and significant effect on economic growth in West Java 2015 until 2019. From this result, it can be said that economic growth is strongly influenced by the variable of the provincial minimum wage, investment, and the labor force participation rate. Thank you. Thank you very much for hearing me. Let me close the presentation. I am Marlina Putri from Academic Education. Thank you very much for hearing me. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.